No, I think it's abundantly clear. You see the takeover in the room. Thank you, everybody, for coming to Time and Tide's New York City Discovery Studio here at 460 Broome Street. While you can discover a lot of brands here, today we're going to discover a bit more or something new from Formex. And I'm here with Raphael, the CEO of Formex. And should I even introduce him? Because I feel like it's a bit of a teaser if I do that. So let's just start off with this gentleman here. Formex. At this stage, I believe we've got really, it's 4 core collections. Can you, for everybody in the room who's maybe not super familiar with the brand, give me, like, no pun intended, the essence of each of your 4 core models?
All right, yeah, let's start with the essence. This is the collection or the model that helped us relaunch the brand when we took over. We did a Kickstarter late 2018. And then from there, we launched it in 43 on Kickstarter, already chronometer certified. And then from there, we took it down to 39 millimeter diameter. And this really kicked things off to the next gear for us. And then we played around still in the same collection, bringing out the Leggera, the carbon fiber and ceramic collection at 65 grams. Very light, same design, but it's a black version. And that will never scratch. So it's not a PVD coated black watch, but something that is made of carbon fiber, ceramic, forged carbon fiber. So a really interesting material mix. And then we came out with Reef, our diver collection.
Gotta have a dive watch.
300 meters, interchangeable bezels. So I've seen a couple on the wrists tonight. So a lot of you are familiar with it. And then we took that down to 39.5 as well, because as you all know, the sizes are coming down again. And we also worked a bit more on the Essence collection last year. We did a big launch here for the Ceramica, which is our first full ceramic watch. So you have a ceramic bracelet, a ceramic case.
First ever ceramic micro adjust.
Exactly. So this is something we worked on for a long time as well. And yeah, we have the Field collection as well. So grade 2 titanium. This is our kind of entry-level offering. We wanted to offer something that people can discover the brand with, but it's very sturdy, 150 meters of water resistance, and a lot of playful versions and colors as well.
So these are the 4 core collections up until right now. Should we meet the 5th collection? Yeah. Should we meet the 5th collection? Come on. All right, let's do it.
It's a slow and patient process, carefully removing material, softening every edge, creating beauty through movement itself. Over centuries, nature creates forms. Surfaces become smooth, contours begin to flow, hardness gives way to harmony. The aria was born from the same idea, not drawn with sharp lines, but shaped through movement. Curves replace angles, material gently sculpted away, until only purity remained. Because true elegance is never rushed, it takes shape over time. And when movement defines form, the result is something timeless. The Formex Aria Manufacture Chronometer.
All right. Now, I like to get right into it. Everybody just saw the teaser or the trailer for the watch. Let's do a spec check.
All right, so it's our, as you've heard, our first manufacturer caliber that our really dear friend and neighbor Horage developed, and that we were able to customize for to our specs as well. And so it's integrated, full titanium grade 5 a sports watch with a micro rotor caliber with 72 hours of power reserve, chronometer certified by the COSC, and the whole watch is only 6.9 millimeters thick, so a very slim profile.
Yeah, so very nice and slender for a sporty looking watch. 40 millimeters?
Yes.
45 and change lug to lug?
Exactly.
Yeah, I know there's watch nerds in the room. We got to know this information. So tell me a bit about, I know it was touched on in the video that we just watched, but the form of the case, like what is making this case and bracelet really distinct in this very saturated, quite frankly, integrated bracelet category? Right.
Yeah, as we always do with Formex, we started from a completely blank sheet. We really wanted to play or try our hand at an integrated bracelet watch. And the discussions with Horage a couple of years back, this took about 2.5 years to develop and design, made that they offered us, or we all agreed to work together on this movement. And the design inspiration, we didn't want to use this very tried and tested, but already seen a couple of times, very angular, very architectural design of an integrated steel or a sports watch, integrated bracelet watch. And so we wanted to get inspired by forms that are shaped by nature, by the elements. So, a rock that's been sitting on a rock bed for hundreds of years starts out very sharp with sharp edges and gets shaped slowly into something more smooth. So we really worked with these organic shapes and mixed them in with the more angular design of an integrated bracelet watch.
Yeah, well, I've had the privilege of holding it, and certainly the finishing between the brushing and the mirrored accents, it all looks great. And then we have the dial here, which I don't know if you guys noticed, but we've got these sort of they almost look like scalloped ridges.
Yes, exactly. So getting a 3D dial into such a thin watch was a challenge in and of itself. And, the ridges you see behind the indexes, they're sitting on a platform. And the ridges you see are something that we got inspired from, rocks sitting in a flowing river. And basically the wake you see behind the rocks is what inspired these shapes as well. So the dial is completely stamped and then treated with a very fine, wet sandblasting, and then lacquered.
Okay. So we've got a good look at the externals. I think we should discuss the internals of the watch. So we have David Sharp, COO of Horage, with us. You've mentioned 72 hours of power reserve, micro rotor caliber. But what else? What are some of the really key distinctions because Horage really is one of the maestros of micro rotor movements. They're really the best in the business at it. We've got a tungsten rotor, or micro rotor, so it's dense.
Correct.
You can wind the watch, what is it, like per hour on the wrist?
So roughly 1 hour of wear will equate to circa 10 hours of power back into the mainspring. So it's a highly efficient micro rotor. Many micro rotors, when they were first iterative in the market in the 60s, were, let's say, less than efficient. And we've spent a lot of time. We've gained approximately 55% efficiency in winding technology within this caliber.
Yeah, so with micro rotor movements, you always have to wonder how efficient it's going to be. It's a smaller rotor, and you don't want the watch to be, pooping out on you when you're wearing it. So this is a very efficient micro rotor movement. And we've also got some interesting decoration here. So this is a really distinct take on your K2 caliber, I believe.
Absolutely. So our K2 caliber was first introduced back in 2020, and it's not a one and done. It's been an iterative upgrade process through those years since we introduced it. And with this version that we've announced with Formex today, it's our latest version. It features all of our latest technology, including something that we only ourselves just introduced in the last few weeks into the caliber, that being the Legatech process for some of the gears. And of course, it's one of the few movements from any brand, never mind independent brands, that features a full silicon escapement. And it's all a proprietary silicon escapement. The hairspring, the escape wheel, and the pallet is all our proprietary silicon technology. That, of course, leads to lighter weight, more efficiency, better lubrication, better longevity of servicing of the watch, and very good accuracies.
Yeah. And the accuracy on this movement, we're chronometer certified.
We're chronometer certified, and very often they're running considerably within that category. Obviously, the cost category is your -4 +6, but many of these are, leaving and running on people's wrists at considerably tighter tolerances.
Yeah. So look, of course, we appreciate silicon and anti-magnetism. This is something that I think when you see it, you're going to appreciate more than maybe you thought you would. How many people, when you're setting the time, you see that hand slack, where you're really trying to line up the hand exactly with that? I know for myself, if my hands are not exactly hitting the hash at the 0-second mark, it just kills me. So that leads to your use of Ligatech.
Yeah, so Ligatech is a technology. It's not a new technology. It was a technology born out of a MEMS process, and it was very much used for kind of micro electromechanical engineering systems. It's progressed to be used in the watch industry. There are a few brands using it, but very few ultimately of all the brands out there. And as you mentioned, that quivering hand, when you're trying to hack your watch exactly, it can be as bad as when you push the crown in, the hand just moves and it jumps a little bit. Or even if you've got a feature like, say, a jumping hour hand, you're turning the crown and you just watch the hand just make that little wobble. Actually, functionally, other than when it jumps, which is really annoying, because you can usually work around it, but it's not a great user experience. You know, you're buying a high quality mechanical precision instrument and you watch this quivering and think, this is not a great experience. So this gives you a scale. This is a match head behind Zach's head, to be honest. And this gives you a kind of scale of the idea, this being the conventional component and this being the Ligatech wheel. And we've spent actually a good few years working on this. And effectively, in long story short, you have the teeth that are actually flexible and move. Normally, when you get the interface between the different wheels, you have to have a tiny amount of give or tolerance. If you don't get the quiver, but you get a lot of drag, you get a lot of kind of non-efficiencies within the movement, which can be as bad as affecting timekeeping and all these other things. This, though, as these move, it allows it to stay in constant contact. And I say to you, try adjusting the watch when you have a go of it earlier, because these have it. You get a much nicer experience, and you can, of course, hack it exactly to where you want the time to be on it. It's an interesting process. It's Ligatech. I'm not going to butcher my German, but it's an acronym. It's lithography, and it jumps the I and it goes to G, which is Galvoformung, and it's Abformung, which is effectively etching, light etching, process that many folk might know from the likes of microprocessors or chips. Then you've got galvanizing or electroplating, and then you've got molding. It's a super clever process. It uses UV light to etch into a resin mold, which then hardens, and then you can cut away from the mask the areas that don't harden, and then you build up in layers of electroprocessing, having usually a nickel-based metal component that is able to be used out of the mold. They are super cool to see. The scale of these is unbelievable. When you actually have one in the hand and you're looking at it under the microscope, you can't quite believe that you can make something that accurate. But the feeling it gives on the watch is second to none. It's just you'll never want a watch that doesn't have it, let me put it like that, once you have this on it.
So look, I think we can all agree that this is a very high-tech caliber, and you're getting distinct elements out of, like, yes, there are other micro-rotors, but which micro-rotor movements have 72 hours of power reserve, COSC certification, really efficient winding, and
high anti-magnetism.
High anti-magnetism with a full silicon across the balance gear train. And then, of course, as you just said, the Ligatech. So there's so many details to discover within this watch. Speaking of details within the watch, we're looking at the bracelet right here. We touched on micro adjust earlier. Do we have micro adjust in some form or another in this bracelet?
Yes, you can see it, but on each side of the clasp you have 3 millimeters of extension, so it gives you a total of 6 millimeters that you can use without having to open the clasp, much like the newest generation we use on the Essence collection.
Mm-hmm. And I believe I saw on the underside of the bracelet we've got 2 quick release tabs if we want to.
Yes, exactly. So we don't have any straps yet because we thought anyone who's going to get this watch is going to wear it for quite a while on that bracelet. So it will come for future iterations, and also for owners now that will be able to upgrade to leather straps.
Yeah, so to get into the nitty-gritty here, this right now, the first 100 pieces, this is part of the Founders Edition, right? So the case backs are going to be numbered.
Exactly.
And it's 100 pieces across 3 different dial colors, and we have blue, Denso blue, we have salvia green, and we have the gray version as well. I think the blue is going to be high. It's going to be a very valuable stock right now in New York, as I've heard. So is anybody else getting Knicks vibes from the blue and orange? Right?
Exactly. So the movements are being made. Some of them are made and already certified, and we'll deliver the first 100 pieces in September. And then there's going to be future batches, but only beginning in spring next year.
Okay. And to be clear, with these 100 watches, it's 100 across the 3 colors. So depending on which color dial people choose, there could be some colors that have far more and others less, just based on the request, right? So keep an eye out to see how many are in the wild, and you'll know which way people were leaning towards. And the price point of the watch.
Yeah, so we're looking at 7,900 US for the Aria. By the way, Aria comes from Italian air because it's inspired by the elements, by things shaped from the elements. And also the whole watch with the bracelets only weighs 78 grams. So for a bracelet watch, that is extremely light, as you're going to be able to experience later on.
Yeah. So 7,900, 100 pieces. I know that we're going to have a certain number of allocation here. So you're in the right space with the right people to talk to if you would like to place that pre-order. And even if you're on the fence, we will have watches here. It's the only place, I think, like in the world where people will be able to come hold these watches in the metal.
Correct. Yeah, we weren't able to make hundreds of prototypes if we only have hundreds of actual serial production. So yeah, this is one of very few places you can try them on.
Okay. Well, with that, I'm happy to take just a few quick questions if anybody has any questions for Raphael or Dave here. Anybody? You guys just all want to hold the watch, don't you? All right. Well, with that, I think we should raise the curtain on the piece.
Yes.
And let everybody get in the metal with the watch.
Before I raise it, I would like to thank everyone for coming out for the event. We're going to be here for you guys to experience the watch, enjoy the drinks, enjoy the food. And to everyone watching from home, because this is being live streamed, thank you very much for watching, especially the ones staying up late back home. Hello. All right, without further ado. Woo!
And as I said, you don't just have to look at the watches behind glass. We do have them available over there if you'd like to really hold and get a sense of just how thin and how light the watches are.
So yeah, you please go experience them, try them on over there. Marcus and the team will help you experience them.
Thank you.
It's a slow and patient process, carefully removing material, softening every edge, creating beauty through movement itself. Over centuries, nature creates forms. Surfaces become smooth, contours begin to flow, hardness gives way to harmony. The Aria was born from the same idea, not drawn with sharp lines, but shaped through movement. Curves replace angles, material gently sculpted away, until only purity remained. Because true elegance is never rushed, it takes shape over time. And when movement defines form, the result is something timeless. The Formex Aria Manufacture Chronometer.